Is it just you and me right now?
I guess. Hey, how's it going, guys? Welcome back to the Highlight Taking Podcast. So we're going to start a little bit early if anybody else joins. David back here again from Tallahassee, Florida.
Back at you from Melbourne, Maryland.
Yeah, I guess as Nick would say if he was here, let's get it, guys. But yeah, I mean, it truly was a dead weekend in sports. Not much happened, except for the one bombshell, and that's going to be the Justin Fields trade. The trade that I think the Chicago Bears are going to regret, but they traded Justin Fields for a 6th-round pick.
Yeah, I mean, that is, it's insane to think that Kenny Pickett and Desmond Ridder were worth more to NFL teams than Chicago was. Now, however, I will say, though, too, that I did hear Chicago did not take the best available offer that was given because they wanted to do right by Justin Fields as well as they could. I don't know how true that is. I don't know how much of a difference it would have been. I just know that's what Pittsburgh said. Or Chicago said, I mean. But one way or another, right, everyone kind of feels like Justin Fields was warranted another year. I mean, you had said that there was, 5 games that the defense lost on double-digit leads the offense has held this season. So that right there shows you, okay, you didn't have enough on the defense, but Fields was doing his job. Granted, at the same time, you probably need to, keep on the gas, score more points, but you can't put all the blame on him for that. He 100% did enough to warrant at least another year. If you wanted to draft a quarterback, okay. But I don't know. I don't like it. But I will say, I think Pittsburgh fleeced the hell out of the Bears. I think this was a great move for them. I mean, their quarterback room just went from Kenny Pickett, Mason Rudolph, and MVP, I don't know who the hell.
MVP Mitch Trubisky.
Yeah, and Trubisky to Russell Wilson and Justin Fields. I think that is a very underrated quarterback room. A very underrated quarterback room. I mean, Russell Wilson, we don't know what we're getting here, right? But we do know at least that he's going to play for a coach that wants him to play for him. Right? He's not going to – over in Denver, Sean Payton didn't want. That was no reason to jump. Sean Payton did not want Russell Wilson as his quarterback. But now he's going to a place where he's wanted, so maybe that'll work out. And if it doesn't, right, you just grab Justin Fields for a 6th-round pick, and he's getting a chance to get one more year under a belt, a year under his belt under Russell Wilson, a guy who has a play style in his prime just like Fields' play style, and he'll get to learn and understand it. And at that point, if you say, okay, look, neither of these are going to work out, you go in the next year's draft and you find a quarterback or something. But you set yourself up for a low risk, high reward. You know what I mean?
No, 100%. And that's the big thing that good on the Steelers, because now you have Russell Wilson who's near the end of his career, and then Justin Fields is at the very beginning of his career. And now you can have somebody to go underneath. You also had the choice to have 2 starting quarterbacks. You had 2 quarterbacks last year who were starters, right? And now you get the chance to sit there and let them both play in preseason, decide who you want to play better. If you want Russell Wilson to be the guy who starts, put Fields under his wing, he can, or you do like they did with Eli Manning and Kurt Warner in New York, where you have the younger guy starting, but then you have the older guy mentoring him as he's playing games too, because they had the experience. So, I mean, the Steelers, they got rid of Deontay Johnson, which kind of stinks. They lost one weapon there. But you grade a quarterback, you still have a decent running back room in Najee Harris and Warren. And you still have Allen Robinson, and you still have...
No, you don't.
Is Robinson gone?
Yes.
So who do they have at wide receiver now? They just have Pickens?
They have George Pickens. I'm pretty sure they even cut Calvin Austin. So, yeah, I don't know.
Freiermuth?
They just signed Van Jefferson from the Rams.
Okay. I mean, it's kind of a down. You definitely lost a lot, I guess, in your wide receiver room. But
put it to you this way, though.
They'll probably draft one. Get like Keon Coleman.
A lot of people aren't really grasping this much, though, right? The Steelers, they were very mid last year, 100% mid. Mike Tomlin got another winning season under his belt. What did he fucking do? We all knew that was coming, right? But he did that with Mitchell Trubisky and Kenny Pickett at the helm. And they didn't have a good passing game at all. So it didn't matter what the receivers looked like because the passing game sucked.
Yeah.
You tremendously upgraded at the quarterback position. Tremendously. And I feel like that's what people don't understand. You had a team that was 9-8 off of horrible quarterback play, and you just absolutely upgraded that quarterback room.
Yeah, it's the stat like in 2 years with Pittsburgh, Pickett was what 13 touchdowns, 13 picks, something like that. Like he only threw 13 touchdowns in
Yeah,
two
it was.
seasons,
Yeah, as a starter, yeah,
which
like
is
that. Yeah.
pretty bad. There's no way to water that down. It's pretty bad. But you got to look on the Bears side now, I guess. 'Cause we talk a lot about the Steelers. The Bears, it just blows my mind because you went and you loaded up your offense now, minus the offensive line, which is kind of the one thing they do need to address. But you have a pretty loaded offense. I mean, you got Keenan Allen, you still have DJ Moore, you have Komet, you just got DeAndre Swift. You are in prime position to draft Marvin Harrison Jr. 1 overall, get yourself an offensive lineman at 9, and then keep Fields. But now you're forced to draft a position that you already had because you got rid of Fields. Now you have to draft quarterback 1. And then you're going to have to use 9 for either a stretch of a wide receiver. Maybe you can somehow trade back. If there's a wide receiver you want, you can trade back for that or draft offensive line. It's just blows. You could probably have the best wide receiver core in the NFL if you would just have kept Fields. And instead, they, for some reason, were that against it. I just feel like they had the opportunity to have the best offseason of any team and just blew it with that trade the other day.
Yeah. I agree. I feel like a lot of people would have wanted to see Justin Fields stay there in Chicago. I mean, the Bears did him very dirty. I feel that's without a doubt. Now, the only good news and upside for Chicago, right, is this much. If Caleb Williams is the quarterback that Chicago thinks that he is, right, then they have set up him to basically perform lights out the way they should have set up Justin Fields, right? And that's the good news there. They're not going to, whoever they take at 1, you can't look at them and say, okay, they did wrong by him, because they didn't. You're walking into a team that has DJ Moore and Keenan Allen as your 1 and 2 targets, Cole Kmet and DeAndre Swift. Okay, that is a great offense. There's a bunch of talent right there. There's no excuse behind that. So yeah, if it succeeds and that's the guy you're looking for, then props to Chicago. You knew what you were doing here. Okay, all right, congrats. You knew what you were doing here. It came at the expense of someone else's I like him. I think Justin Fields is a pretty cool guy, decent guy, whatever. I didn't like to see his career go that way, but you did it at the expense of one player's career to turn your franchise around. But if you don't turn your franchise around in this draft pick, dude, oh man, this is going to haunt you for years. For years.
And like I said, you take a look at the Chicago Bears quarterback history throughout their entire franchise, one of the oldest franchise and one of the most historic franchises. And you sit here and you have zero quarterbacks under 4,000 passing yards. You have a history of terrible quarterback picks. And honestly, their best quarterback of all time is Jay Cutler. Like that's the unfortunate side of it. Their best quarterback ever was Jay Cutler. But you have to sit here and just wonder, like, what are they doing? Like, what? Like, they were set up to maybe you're right. Fields didn't have the best arm talent, but he was dynamic enough on the offense that if you would have given him a clean pocket, which you never got, he probably could do some damage especially with the team he's got. So it's going to have to pan out, because if it doesn't pan out, then they have just screwed their entire franchise. They've screwed what they have set up themselves to do with the trade last year with Carolina. And you just can't forgive that. It's going to be another what if with the Chicago Bears, a team that unfortunately has been just chock full of what ifs the entirety of their history, other than 1 year in 1985.
Yeah. It's interesting to see. Like, I feel like I was the whole offseason excited to see what Chicago was going to do. And it was very interesting to see what have they done, but it's just, I don't think it's going to play out in the right way here. I really don't. I feel like their absolute best thing they could do, and I've said this, and to our 7 listeners, I might get some feedback or some backlash here, but no QB in this draft, I don't think, is miles above anyone as of right now. I just don't think that. Caleb Williams is the consensus number 1, okay, but then you got guys, Penix, Daniels, McCarthy. I don't think that those guys are that much worse than Caleb Williams, not by any means. So in my head, the best thing that Chicago could do to kind of resave everything they just did is trade out of the 1, take a QB at 9, and take Marvin Harrison at 3 or 4 wherever you get, wherever you go.
That, yeah,
Set yourself up again for
I didn't even think about that. I did not even think about the situation where they could go get Marvin Harrison Jr. first and then pick whatever quarterback they wanted after that, which is honestly would be truthfully the better move there. I think that's truthfully the better. They're not going to do it. Caleb Williams is probably going to be number 1 overall pick, but if I were them, that's probably what I would do too. I would go after Marvin Harrison Jr. You give whatever quarterback you're going to draft at 9 the better offensive weapons you have there. Truthfully, you can go at 9. You can probably, maybe not Daniels, but JJ McCarthy would probably be there at 9. I feel like if that's Penix would definitely be there at 9. Bo Nix would be there at 9. I feel like one of those 3 guys would be there at 9.
Even if you're starving for let's say Jaden Daniels, right? Because I think that's the guy. I think he's the guy that comes off the board at the latest pick 7 and Bears set pick 9. So even if you're starving for a guy like Jaden Daniels, you have players and capital and whatnot to move yourself up 2 spots. You can figure it out. If you're sold hard enough to say, okay, you know what, Jaden Daniels is the next best thing and we need that, I think they could do that. You can make that move up there. Even if they said, okay, you know what, we want to get out of the 1 to the 3 or the 2 or whatever it is, and you get that capital and you just roll whatever capital you got back into it to move it up from the 9 spot. Get a guy like Jaden Daniels. So it'd be interesting to see. I think that's the way that, would be great for them to play it out. That's not how they're going to play it out. Obviously, Caleb Williams, you are a Bear. It's nothing more past that, really. But, yeah.
And I guess, again, very dead week when it came to moves being made. But as Eagles fans, surprising one being that we just traded for Kenny Pickett as the backup. So what do you have to think about that?
I mean, look, right. Hope and expectation is that guy doesn't have to go in. Okay, right. That's always the hope, and that's the expectation. But I mean, at least you get a guy who, right now, he wants to play for Philly. That's the team he grew up liking and watching. It's a guy wants to play for. But at the same time, you get a guy who has genuine starting time as an NFL quarterback as your backup. And I feel like that's kind of what you want, right? He might not be, the greatest thing. He might not be the greatest quarterback alive. Sorry. He might not, if Hurts were to go down for a game, he's not going to step in and give you a Gardner Minshew versus Dallas kind of game. No. But you've seen it. You know what I mean? Over in Pittsburgh, the defense kept him alive. Philly has a good defense right now with all the signings, and I feel like that's just what they want to do. They want to just get a guy in there who has experience, can manage the game if need be, has to come in, low contract value, doesn't really matter. It is what it is. It's not a huge signing, but it's a guy at the same time that, you should be happy to note that, let's say Hurts goes down, you're much happier with Pickett going in than Tanner McKee. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, that's just the facts of it. You're not going to be screaming at your TV, oh my God, like, you're not going to be so happy to hear McGee's going in over Pickett. You'd be pissed. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. And I think the biggest thing too is just like how much money you're saving. Because with the other guys, with Mariota, I think he was getting paid like $8 million last year. $8 million last year. I believe they were trying to get Flacco to be a backup, and then I think he ended up getting paid also like $6 or $8 million this year. To the Colts. Was the Colts? I forget where he ended up going. Maybe it was the Colts. I want to say it was the Colts.
Flacco?
Yeah.
Brown, buddy.
No, he was.
Flacco played for the Browns.
Right, but he played for the Browns. But this year he signed with a team. The Eagles are looking at getting him as a backup.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did sign. He signed with the Colts.
But then you get Pickett, who is on a rookie deal. I think he's only making like $1 to $2 million this upcoming year. And again, like you said, a quarterback who has starting experience. And you know what? That's honestly a great move. Was it worth getting rid of? Was it a 3rd pick? Our 3rd overall?
We gave away a 3rd and a 7th in exchange for a 4th and a 6th and Pickett.
Yeah. I mean, and I understand. In the grand scheme of things, Eagles fans are sitting there saying, oh, wait, we could have given away just a 6 and gotten Fields. But like you said, they kind of wanted to do right by Justin Fields. Justin Fields and Hurts came in almost like the exact same draft. I think they were like a year or 2 apart from each other.
Yeah.
So you're kind of screwing over Fields there if you throw him in with a quarterback who's the Eagles franchise quarterback. Barring anything bad to happen in the next couple of years, he's going to be there for a little bit. And so you are doing him right. I mean, it would have fit best for the Eagles. He would have fit the Eagles scheme tremendously. But like you said, the Bears just didn't want to throw him to the Wolves and kind of ruin his career by just making him a career backup after this point.
Yeah. Now, sadly, I will say though, I don't know how well Pittsburgh communicated anything because it sounds like it was going to be a quarterback competition, but then now I'm hearing that Russell Wilson's going to be extended by the end of the season if he plays well enough. So,
yeah. I mean, I'm sure it's going to be a competition no matter what. Looking at last year, Russell Wilson was the better quarterback of the two last year. But it's just, you had to look up their ages too. You have, Russell Wilson who's coming into his 11th year in the league this year. 11th, 12th league. I think he came in the 2013 draft with Luck and RG3.
2013.
And so, I mean, he's a guy he's not young. Granted, he won his Super Bowls young, but he's not a young quarterback much anymore. He's been there for a while. And then obviously you have Fields who's been there this is going to be his 4th year now, I believe. Some long, maybe 3rd year, something along that lines. So it's going to be interesting to see how the QB competition works. You got to hope that for Fields' sake, it does turn out well. I mean, you see guys right now like Love who had to sit a while underneath, Aaron Rodgers came in last year and had a phenomenal year. You're going to hope that's kind of what Fields gets if he has to sit behind Russell Wilson. I don't think Russell Wilson's going to be in the league much longer. I think he's a good quarterback, but I don't know how much longer he has in the league left. No,
yeah, I hear you on that one. I believe the guy's like 36, 37-ish around there.
Yeah, he was a 5-year. I think he was a 5-year college player.
Yeah, I don't know. I agree with you. I mean, look, at the end of the day, right? I mean, at this point, he's not a franchise quarterback. Like, that's kind of obvious. You can stick him on a team that you think is completely built and ready to go on a run, which I guess is kind of what, Pittsburgh's attempting to do right now. But no, I mean, he's not a franchise quarterback. There's just no way, especially now with all the young talent that's coming out and the more and more talent that there is coming out of high schools and into college and coming out into drafts and whatnot. Yeah, he's only probably got 2-3 more years left in the league, probably max.
Yeah, but it's gonna be very interesting, and I don't know, I just want to. I don't think, like I said, I don't think Fields is going to get that starting spot next year. I really don't. I think they'll maybe sit him back, even if he outplays him in the preseason, which I don't see happening. Fields just isn't much of a scheme fit for a Tomlin ran offense, I feel. And, Russell Wilson, yeah, he's an athletic quarterback, but he's not, 2013 to 2020 Russell Wilson who's dodging sacks 24/7, running around scrambling. And he's not that guy anymore. He's definitely aged and playing a different game. And so it's going to be interesting to see how that scheme is with the Steelers because Steelers have always been kind of a more nitty gritty type of game. They'll run the ball down your throat and then they'll throw the tight ends, get some yards after contact and all. It's gonna be interesting to see how
bro. My boy Russell Wilson, he still got it, buddy. He on it.
Steel Pittsburgh Nation, let's weld.
Pittsburgh Nation, let's weld.
Nah. But
Steelers, yeah, I guess, let's steal.
I don't even know if there's any other NFL news to be brought. Like free agency was really quick last week. A lot of stuff happened on that first and second day. It's like bang, bang, bang. I think Tyron Smith, he ended up signing with the Jets, I believe, this past weekend.
Who?
The old tackle for the Cowboys.
Oh yeah, Tyron Smith. Yeah, he did go to the Jets. That's pretty solid pickup. I feel it's a little underrated right now. They're probably going to move him from left tackle to right tackle because I believe Mekhi Becton, their former first-round pick, I believe she is still at the left tackle position. So they're probably going to move Tyron over to the right tackle spot if I had to guess. But it's a solid pickup nonetheless, especially when you're talking about trying to protect Aaron Rodgers. You're just coming back off the Achilles tear and whatnot. Mm-hmm. Okay, so you want that. You know what I mean? You want that.
Yeah. I mean, granted, that Achilles tear didn't happen because of a lack of offensive line, unfortunately. It just happened because he had to play on stinking MetLife turf. But, yeah, it's an upgrade. And the Jets are arguably one of the hardest divisions to play in. You have the Dolphins and you have the Bills. And the Jets, and then you have the Patriots. Now, I guess the Patriots aren't that hard anymore, but they were hard if you asked me 2 years ago. So it's It's going to be a grind. You have the Buffalo Bills defense is a pretty solid defense. It's going to be interesting to see what the Dolphins defense does this year because they were a pretty comparable defense last year, but you lost your defensive coordinator and you lost your best defensive tackle, and you have two guys who are coming off of injury, season-ending injury last year, so you don't know how they're going to do. So it's going to be interesting to see what adding another good offensive line is going to do there. Do I think the Jets are favorites? It's going to be so hard. I mean, it's going to be really difficult to see what night and day is between Aaron Rodgers and Zach Wilson from last year. We did not get to see how that team is with Aaron Rodgers, and that's the unfortunate thing. It's almost like we're going into a brand new season. Aaron Rodgers is just starting, truthfully.
Yeah, well, I mean that's kind of what it is. So, this is the last year of Rodgers' deal. So right now he's on a 1-year deal, basically. If he plays well, he can still go again next year. But I get it. We're talking about A-Rod. I got you. We're also talking about a guy that's 40 years old and hasn't played football in almost 2 years.
Yeah.
So what do you – and that, again, is coming off an Achilles injury. So what do we make of that? What do we expect? I got you. I get it. We're talking about A-Rod. We're talking about a consensus first ballot Hall of Famer, a Super Bowl champion, a multiple-time MVP. I understand that. I'm not questioning that the guy can't play, but what kind of Rodgers are we about to get? Because again, 2 years off the field and coming off of an Achilles tear, I don't know.
Yeah. And Rodgers is a quarterback, and I don't feel like he gets enough credit for how mobile he is and how well he works with his feet, how well he gets outside the pocket as well, and with his arm. It's gonna be interesting. You're coming off an Achilles tear like that, like you said, he's up there in age. I mean, as of right now, he's contemplating running for vice president. So what on earth are we gonna sit here and think he's gonna come in and turn the Jets' entire franchise around? That was the risk we talked about last year, was you're getting Rodgers for 2 years. You're almost getting him for the exact same thing as you got Brett Favre when he went from the Packers. It's almost like a weird complete cycle now. At some point, Vikings need a quarterback. Who's to say the Vikings don't go and sign Aaron Rodgers next year and complete the cycle?
Right.
But I don't know. I truly just don't know. I want to give Aaron Rodgers the benefit of the doubt because Aaron Rodgers, but the last time we saw him, he had the worst season of his career before the injury, and then he comes in and gets hurt, last year. So we haven't really gotten that benchmark yet. And truthfully, I could see another scenario where Aaron Rodgers just doesn't have that great of a year, even with the offense he has. Because let's look at the offense he has right now with Breece Hall is a decent running back. You have Garrett Wilson is a good wide receiver. Outside of that, don't have that much, so you're looking at maybe having the draft offense, maybe, and you didn't get anybody, offensive talent wise this year. Last year you did, but then you end up having to go and trade those guys because of injuries. You had to get rid of McCole Hardman. You had to trade him. He went to. Did he go to the Chiefs and ended up winning a Super Bowl? Yeah, he won.
Yeah,
he got the walk-in touchdown.
Touchdown. Yeah.
So I don't know. I guess we'll talk about the Jets more as the season gets coming, especially once the draft starts. But we're looking at a team that could probably again just underperform once again, and looking at a losing season, even with Aaron Rodgers on the field. See, is there anything else you can think of football wise? Hello? Well, Christian died again. I guess while we're on a little break from him, we are doing a March Madness bracket. We'll be talking about March Madness here shortly at some point, either this episode or next episode. $50, whoever gets the best bracket, we'll give that $50 to. Tell your friends, send them links. We'll do it on ESPN or CBS. We'll have to figure that out, but we will be doing a bracket challenge, and hopefully you guys can win this one. I will not be participating like the last time, and when I won money, will not be doing that this time. It'll be interesting to see how you all do.
Sorry, technical difficulty.
You're fine. I did the ad for our March Madness bracket 1 year ago.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Is there any other football news you can think of? Because I just think there was not much news this past weekend.
Not really. couple more things to add. Shout out to Aaron Donald on a great career. He
Yes.
called it a wrap. I don't want to run the red light. That's a cop behind me. He called it a wraps. Obviously a consensus first ballot Hall of Famer, 3-time Defensive Player of the Year. He's got a Super Bowl ring to go along with it. I think it said 111 sacks at the D tackle position, which might be the most all time for a D tackle. I don't know where it ranks, but I know it's up there. Great career. Shout out him. And as well, another news coming out: Leighton Vander Esch, linebacker for the Cowboys. He announced his retirement as well. Neck injury caused him to cut his career short. Kind of the same thing as Sean Lee. You hate to see it, truthfully. One way or another, regardless of what team you like. He was very promising linebacker. Was taken in the first round, I believe, 17th overall by Dallas. You just hate to see it. You never want to see it like that. So shout out to him for his career. I think that's really about all. Oh man, what am I missing here? Houston traded with Minnesota.
Oh yeah, I believe we talked about that a little bit in the last episode. But yeah, I guess we didn't get your thoughts on it. It's an interesting trade. I mean, I truthfully sat here and you're the Texans. You've had a great offseason.
Sorry, someone got in a car accident. I was just looking. Go ahead.
You had a great offseason. You trade a bunch of people, and then you trade your first overall pick. I feel like that first overall pick, even though it's a pretty late one, could have been really worth drafting another player, especially defensive side of the ball. Oh, look at this.
Look at what? Oh, little D in the chat.
More like average size D.
Fair enough.
I wish I was in the car. I'll see if I can edit myself in the car next time. But no, like we talked about it last time. It's just I don't know what the Texans were not wanting at that first pick. They obviously they wanted to trade away. They get the second pick and they get next year's second round pick from the Vikings. But it'd be more interesting to see what the Vikings really wanted with that first overall pick, or the first round pick, because they already have the 12th this year. So you gotta think they're going for what?
A bundle. You gotta think they're going for a bundle deal to send up to someone to get a quarterback. You know what I mean? Now you have 2 first round picks. I don't know what you have in the second, but I mean you have capital to go ahead and make some moves. That's probably what they're looking to do, is try and find a franchise guy here. Granted, sitting at 12. Yeah, I mean, your top 4 quarterbacks are probably going to 12. By 12, your top 4 QBs are going. You're going to have to move yourself up into probably 8, I think.
I think McCarthy could possibly drop.
I feel like McCarthy's going to be there at 12 if they want to get, if they really want a quarterback.
I don't know. I mean, look, we know this much. We know basically that Caleb Williams is coming off the board first. Drake May is probably coming off second if it's not Jaden Daniels. And then one way or another, Jaden Daniels is coming off third or Drake May is coming off third. So that leaves you with only J.J. Penix and Knicks left. I'm telling you, dude, I think 4 QBs go in the top 10.
Because the Giants are going to draft QB. I don't think there's any question the Giants draft, even with how much money they're paying Daniels, even with how many people they went out and got this offseason. I think they got to draft QB.
Right. So you look at it like that. Williams goes 1 to Chicago. Drake May goes 2 to Washington. New England needs a quarterback. So now New York has to try to climb up to where New England is if they want a quarterback. Or if New England says, yeah, we can get a QB at 6. Okay, well, New York's traded up to get a quarterback. Now QB's gone at 6. So just like that, the top 4 quarterbacks are going in the draft through 6 picks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Minnesota needed that other first round pick. If they want to go up and get a franchise quarterback, I think that they're going to need it now, especially after that Justin Fields trade.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much available now in free agency unless they want to go surprise, shock the world, go get Carson Wentz or someone. Who knows? He's a dude who's up from North Dakota, not too far from Minnesota. Go get him. I think one thing we didn't talk about, I believe the Rams signed Jimmy Garoppolo as a backup.
They did.
Yeah.
That they did.
Very interesting move because we don't know how long Stafford has in the league. I mean, he's been in the league for a while since I want to say '09. And so, I mean, you can't think they're looking at Jimmy G to be the next guy up once Stafford leaves, do you?
No. Listen,
Nah,
Jimmy Garoppolo, he had a few good years. When Brady was out, Garoppolo played well, and that earned him a contract with other teams. But in recent days, Jimmy Garoppolo seems to be just a waste of money. And you look and see like his tenure in San Francisco. Yeah, they went to a Super Bowl, but Jimmy Garoppolo's assistant quarterback, you see it when he played with the Raiders. You put him in a system that wasn't playing well, and Jimmy Garoppolo just his play style and play level went downhill.
Well, yeah, I see what you're saying, but I think it kind of goes back to almost what David and I were talking about a couple minutes ago with the Kenny Pickett thing. I think it's just kind of like that. Once again, you're getting, Stafford is old and he's liable to go down. You saw that not this past season, but the season before when he did go down and it looked like, okay, the season's fucked, and it was. He didn't have that great of a year. So I think that's just what they went out and did. They valued the backup quarterback position, which you're seeing teams that are good, that have good quarterbacks, but can get hurt. You see them start to do that a little more, And so that's what they went out and did. They got themselves a guy who has plenty of experience starting in this league at every level, in the playoffs, in the preseason, in the regular season, everywhere. So, that's it. If Stafford goes down, I don't hate it. It's not horrible. There's a good offense there. They have a great running back, 2 great receivers, a decent tight end, a nice line. Why can't he run this in there? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't think they have a lot of aging quarterbacks. Is Carson Wentz still on that team, or is he just a 1-year deal? I don't know if Carson
He's a free agent.
He's a free agent now. Okay. Yeah, because they have Stetson. Stetson's the young guy there.
Yeah, from Georgia.
Yeah, Stetson, who played like 8 years of college, is the young guy there.
Yeah, literally 25, 26 years young.
Oh, but yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I'm not sure if there's anything else. Don't you remember anything else that happened besides we talked about Pickett, we talked about Fields, and I guess we talked about the 2 things you heard. Anything else in NFL you can think of?
I know, like, I've heard a bunch of rumors about Justin Jefferson possibly being moved. He didn't pick up on his option and didn't accept the extension. So could we see Justin Jefferson moving out of Minnesota? Could we see that?
Nah, I don't think we see it. One, Minnesota would be beyond stupid because the offense they have set up right now is very friendly to a quarterback. Between Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, Aaron Jones, and Hawkinson at the tight end position. It's set up very nice. We all know one thing, and that's that Justin Jefferson is a top 3 wide receiver in this league. And we also know that he's getting a contract before Jamar Chase is. So Justin Jefferson is going to become the highest paid wide receiver in the NFL, and he will become the highest paid wide receiver through the Vikings. I feel there's no question about it. That's just not a guy like you don't see it often. You don't see the cornerstone #1 consensus wide receiver get traded away that often. We've seen it a little more recently in Devontae Adams and Tyreek Hill and how they went.
AJ Brown.
Right, and AJ Brown. Well, even AJ Brown, though, when he got traded, he wasn't a consensus top 3 wide receiver. He was probably a top 10, but he wasn't a top 3. The way Devontae Adams and Tyreek Hill both were. So I don't think it happens. I think he gets paid. I think he does, and I think he gets paid by Minnesota, and we're probably looking upwards about $35 million a year to him.
But that's the thing, though. He did not accept the extension. That's what the whole news was. They offered an extension, and he rejected it.
I would like to see when they offered it and how much it was offered for.
I think it was like 30 mil or something like that.
Then yeah, I wouldn't have accepted it either. If you're gonna give me the exact same amount of money as a guy that already had, as somebody else who's older than you and arguably not as good as you, why would you accept it?
Yeah, but like what I'm saying is, with him not accepting it, I've heard rumors about him possibly going to Cincinnati, joining up with his old teammate Jamar Chase.
And Joe Burrow.
Accept that
Well,
deal.
and Cincinnati still needs to worry about paying Jamar Chase, who's on his last year of his rookie deal too. He needs to get extended as well. I guess while we're talking about that, I guess we mentioned it in the last episode. Right now, the Eagles they're sitting around $38 million in cap. I think 34 maybe or 22. I forget how much it was. I want to say it was 22 was the estimated after all the deals they made. And you still have two guys that need to be re-signed. You still have Goddard. You still have Smitty. You're the Eagles franchise. Which one of those guys are you truly looking at to really go balls to the wall to go and try to get a deal done this year?
It's no. I
Devontae
feel like
Smith.
there's no. Yeah, about to say it's no question Devontae Smith. It has. Bro, why is this ugly motherfucker Nick calling in the group chat? It has to be Devontae Smith, no question. I feel like because I mean, dude, we haven't hit on a wide receiver in a draft for how long? And Smith defines absolutely everything. Like he's broken everything that we could have asked for. Everyone said it was too small. It couldn't do this, couldn't do that. He's done everything that you've wanted from this guy, right? He's shown that he can be a number one receiver. And if he does walk from Philly, he's going to be a number one receiver somewhere else. But this is not a guy you can let go. He's younger than Goddard. Goddard, I understand, he's great tight end, but Philly's had a very good time at drafting good tight ends. We got Ertz, we got Selleck, we got Goddard. So I feel like you take that shot at trying to find another tight end, but you have to figure out a way to extend Smith. That's number one priority.
Hey, where's the fire, Nick?
All right, Nick, you're a bitch.
My butthole after flaming hot wings.
Another
Wait,
Christian
so what did
special.
I miss? What did Christian just say?
We're just talking about where the priorities should be with the Eagles right now after having $22 million. And we're saying it should be signing Goddard or Smitty, and that Smitty should be the priority over those two.
Smitty's 100% the priority. Has to be, right? I mean, that he's your number two, sometimes can be your number one coming in if A.J. Brown goes down. So, I mean, I feel like Smitty is a guy you need to re-sign. Now, don't get me wrong, missing Dallas Goedert hurt. And I think it will continue to hurt if we don't have him. But Smitty can be that number one guy on that offense if you need him to be.
Some would argue, 1A and 1B. Some people, if you're ranking, they like this rank. Yeah.
Yeah,
See?
I mean, they both went over 1,000 yards last year, didn't they?
I'm just saying, some people don't like that when you try to list the top best 10 tackles in the NFL. But
Yeah, absolutely. Are we still talking about football, or can we go into some March Madness?
We can go into some March Madness, but we only have a minute left on this.
But before we do, David, we had our little bet, did we not, on Friday?
We
We
did.
did our little dubs and chugs.
I didn't post the video yet, and that's my fault.
Yeah, that's okay. We did a bunch of little games here going in. We were tied going in. Guess what it came down to?
What game?
Princeton versus Brown. Princeton versus Brown. I took Princeton. You took Brown. Goes to show who's the smartest one here. Of course, it came down to the Ivy Leagues. I would never get into an Ivy League school. I automatically gave you the win there. You got me by one, so I'll send a gift over your way. Wanted to get that out of the way, but Brown had a chance to go to March Madness, to go to the
last
bracket.
second shot.
1 point to Yale. 1 point. Crazy, man. Crazy.
Yeah, but we're under a minute here. So unless you want to end this and really quickly, I'm not sure Christian can get into a second one. But
I'm out, boys. Deuces, gang. It's great to see y'all and talk.
Yeah, we'll end this and go straight into the second one.
His name's Cusco.
All right, Nick, we're talking about March Madness.
Yeah, so I kind of wanted to get your guys' take on this. Who you think is going to be the biggest upset in round one, and what you think is going to be the outcome right so far on this.
Yeah, and so I pulled up my preliminary in my bracket. I always call it my gut check bracket, the one where I'm looking at teams and I'm like, okay, this is who I think here and here without even thinking. It's I just feel like there's not going to be that many upsets, but I have picked a little bit of upsets. And I think my biggest upset of the first round, let's see if I can find it. I have Grand Canyon going up and beating St. Mary's. There's always a 12 and a 5 somewhere, and I feel like that could be a good one with the Grand Canyon upsetting there. Mom, sorry, she's trying to call me. Just ignored her call. She's going to be upset about that. And one of the ones that are hard to do, and I really hate it because obviously the first four haven't happened yet, is guessing game before the first four happen. Right now, I have UVA beating Colorado State and then beating Texas. Now that's a 10-7 right there. Not too big of a gap, but you had the experience. And you know what? There's one team who I really do like right now. That's a red hot North Carolina State Wolfpack who somehow found their way to grind all the way to an ACC tourney bid. That could possibly be a team to look out for coming into the NCAA tournament.
Any surprises for you, Dylan?
Looking at the different looking at the different teams, seeing the matchups, some teams that came to mind, I could see UAB being a team that can upset San Diego State. I could see UAB going in upsetting. I know we talked about Grand Canyon uh, as an upset as well, but I can also see Drake. I can also see Drake coming in and upsetting. And I think the last one that came to mind that I saw, Oregon. Oregon is a team that I could see maybe going Sweet 16, maybe going on a Cinderella run. They have a pretty good road. So
And to double there, my gut check bracket, I have them going to the Elite Eight. I have Oregon in the Elite Eight in that one, so that's not a bad pick. And to throw another one out that I did not mention, I also have James Madison beating Wisconsin, and my biggest upset is going to be the Akron beating Creighton. That's my biggest upset.
Yeah, that's a good one. I got one that really shouldn't come as a surprise, but where they're at definitely is. Peacocks. Peacocks going into Tennessee. Tennessee's been on a downfall lately, and this is not good. And St. Peter's, they know they've been there. They know. And I told you before, they live and die by that 3. If they get hot, they will win this game against Tennessee, and they will be a 15 seed going into the next round.
And what's interesting about that Peacocks team, say they get past Tennessee, they get there, and then you're playing, you have Colorado State, UVA, or Texas. I feel those are 3 easily beatable teams that St. Petersburg can get. Then you look at the upside of the bracket where you either have South Carolina, Oregon, Creighton, and Akron. That's the other one. That could be an easy trip to a Sweet 16 bid right there.
Yeah, I mean, they have it set up for them. I want to touch base on this too. I kind of feel like Boise State and Colorado got screwed over in this. I really do think that they shouldn't have to play in the first 4. I think they both have a very good resume this year, and I don't agree with them not having a solidified in the actual March Madness.
And here's my thing about it, and I'll let Dylan talk after this. I know I never understood why you let teams that are lower seeds like that, like 10 seeds, have to play in. Like, why are you making a 10 seed play in? Why can't it just be a bunch of 16 seeds to play in to see who's going to go and play the 1 seeds? That doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah. Yeah. At this point, why don't we just make it to where 1 seeds play each other? Wouldn't that be interesting?
Knock them out in the first round.
Oh, what do you think, Dylan?
Yeah, I just think like if you're making 10 seeds play each other, obviously when there's 16 seeds on each quarter of the bracket, you're punishing a team for playing really well during the season, and uh, you're forcing those teams to possibly not make it with 16 seeds over them, like uh, teams like St. Peter's, which they could make it, but regular season, these 10 seeds have the better season and could possibly make it to the championship, maybe not all the way, but make it to the Final Four, Elite Eight, and you're allowing these easy teams to play mainly so the top seeds get an easier bid.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know.
we've had a 9 seed win it. UConn won it one year at a 9 seed, so I mean, it's not impossible for them to win it. The reason why St. Peter's has their automatic bid because they won their conference. So because they won
Yeah.
their conference, they automatically get that bid, and they're where they need to be. It's at a 15 seed. They need to be at a 15, maybe even a 16, but they're at the right spot. I just don't know how I feel about 10 seeds having to play each other, especially the way Boise State and Colorado both play this year. I would even say they deserve it a 10 spot over Nevada. I mean, that's what I don't understand. Colorado's playing a good ball. They play great ball in their tournament, their conference tournament. So I don't agree with that one, but I think if you want to see someone that could possibly make a run as like a lower seed, I mean, man, I think Oregon might be the team that can do it. Gonzaga, where they're rated, I wouldn't be surprised if McNeese beats them. Gonzaga has not had a good year this year. They've had one good win, in my opinion, and for them to be a 5 seed just doesn't seem right in my books. So I could see McNeese beating them as well. These 5-12 seeds, very interesting. You could see fives going 1-4 in these because I see them, all of them, being a coin flip in all of them.
Yeah, I think
I like
one. Oh, sorry, Don.
the only thing I was going to add was I also like the New Mexico State matchup with Clemson. I think New Mexico State could also upset Clemson in that first round.
Yeah,
Oh yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That's a 6-11. Yeah, I could see that being the upset there for sure. That's a good one. I didn't even see that one. That's a good one.
here's another thing
Dub,
I'll ask about for you guys. Who are these high seed teams who you think are just going to flop? You always have. I mean, there's one big one that's going to be circled on mine because they seem to always do it. But what are some teams that you feel like, yeah, they're high seeds, but you just don't see them doing anything?
yeah, I can start off this real quick and I'll tell you right now because this dude's name, he got drafted this year. There's a name there, quarterback for Georgia that just absolutely flopped in the NFL. So I'm gonna go Stetson. Stetson doesn't have a chance against UConn. They're out. They're probably gonna get blown out there.
Yeah, sorry. When I meant higher seeds, I meant like ones and twos and threes. Not
Oh
like
well,
not like
you should have said
that's my
that.
bad.
Not at four.
Like good teams ranked right now, but you just don't think they're going to do anything. You think they're not that good as they are ranked.
Mm,
Mm.
that's I
So
mean,
the first,
Tennessee.
the
Tennessee is a good
yeah,
one.
I'd also say Creighton. Creighton is ranked a 3. I don't think they're gonna do a lot in the tournament.
Yeah,
If you
I
count
don't know. I disagree with that. Creighton's a
if you
good
count
team this year.
if you count the 4 as like a higher seed, I think Duke. Uh, the way that they played this year, I don't see
The way
Duke
they've
going
ended.
far. Yeah, I could see them as possible second round exits. Like
That's
I don't
about
know
right
what
for
it is.
Duke.
Coach K leaves, and all of a sudden, it just seems like Duke's play level just goes down. Uh,
I get that. The issue is I like Shire. I really like Shire. I remember watching him play ball for Duke. I like him. He's very analytical. He's very good at what he does. But if you don't have recruiting, that's an issue. And Duke automatically gets you that recruiting just by namesake. So I think you have to give him one more year. And if he doesn't do anything, unfortunately, it was Coach K's pick, but you got to go another route. You have to.
I can also see Kentucky losing pretty early, 3 seed. I could see them not doing much in the tournament as well.
Yeah. And no, I was talking about my gut check bracket there. UK has not looked that good this year, especially the end of the
Yeah.
season. I
And
don't
we're a 3 seed?
I don't know how they got a 3 seed. I
Good
talked
name.
about them earlier. A team I can see going and run is NC State. I have NC State beating Texas Tech in the first round and beating UK in the second round and making it to the Sweet 16. And you know who I have playing them in the Sweet 16 there? I got the Gators going to the Elite Eight.
Mhm.
They got hot at the right time.
The Gators got hot at the right time. You look at the bracket side they had to play. They played the winner of Boise State and Colorado. Then they played the winner of Marquette and Western Kentucky. I don't think Marquette's that good. I think they're one of my seeds that I don't think are going to do much being high. And then the one seed who I will never bet for, that will always be a top seed and do bad, it's going to be the Purdue Boilermakers. They always love to lose the high seed. I believe it was the last year they lost to a 16. So, like, you don't bet for Purdue because for some reason they always seem to blow it in the tournaments.
It ruined my bracket last year. Absolutely,
everybody's bracket. I mean, no one, other than those people who like pick random generators, I bet no one really, truthfully thought a 16 was going to beat one. Now we've had two in the past like 5 years.
Yeah, I mean, you got to think, man. Ball's different now. It's a little different, and anybody. That's why. It's so hard. It's so hard. Bracket, it's like almost impossible. You never know who's getting hot at the right time. Is Grambling getting hot at the right time where they're at? I mean, Montana State, they shouldn't have been where they're at. You never know. And if for them, they're lucky they get to play Purdue. I mean, as a player for Purdue, it's in the back of your mind that you did this before, and it's very possible if they feel that way and don't feel confident. And we know how basketball is. It's all about confidence going into a game, and they could easily blow it.
And you gotta wonder, with NIL the way it is now, with transfer the way now, if some people sometimes look at these March Madness tournaments as, hey guys, look at me, I will transfer to your higher conference, higher team after have just one good run in the NCAA tournament. You mean I believe it was at St. Peter's where a lot of the guys ended up transferring after their run a couple of years ago because they're like, oh, these guys can play ball, so we'll just put them on our team.
Yep.
Yeah. It's interesting. You know what team might be a surprising team too? Mississippi State. They beat some good teams in the SEC tournament to get where they're at now.
I probably should look at that more because I had them losing second round to Michigan State. For some reason,
in the first round. All right,
second
first round.
They play second. Isn't the first round they played? Oh yeah,
they're the 8th seed.
Michigan State. Just for some reason, whenever it comes to tournament time, Michigan State's one of my favorite teams to ride for like a decent while, just because they have Tom Izzo has that experience, and it just makes it's tough to go against a team like that. I'll tell you what's shocking. All my Final Four teams come from the same conference in my initial bracket. Would you like to guess which conference that is?
Yeah, the SEC.
Big 12.
No.
I have
the Big 12.
I have Iowa State, Baylor, Kansas, and Houston all making the Final Four.
That's tough. I don't think they're all making it. But what a showing that would be for that conference. Dang.
I didn't even realize that until afterwards because I think Houston didn't they just get added to the Big 12 like a year or two ago? Like
this year was their first year, wasn't it?
Yeah, but like I don't know, Houston, they're not the number. They're like the third or second 1 seed. Iowa State is a 2 seed, had a really good year. Baylor's a 2 or 3 seed this year too, had a good year. And then Kansas, see that's the one that I'm so iffy about because even though I talk bad crap about Purdue, I had them going to the Sweet 16 just because, I feel like they can get done against maybe, who knows? You never know. Get done against another 16 seed without blowing it. And then they play either Utah State or TCU after that.
I don't know, man. Utah State, I feel like didn't get enough credit for what they did this year. To get an 8 seed, in my opinion, is kind of jacked up. And I hope they just absolutely if Purdue gets to the second round, just absolutely takes a dump on them. I mean, just destroys them.
I think for me, my favorite is probably that Iowa State team. I just think that the way they closed out in that Big 12 tournament, not only being the Big 12 champions, but winning by the margin of victory against that Houston team that they did, I think that they make a pretty major case in, hey, we could win it all this year. And they're my favorites in this tournament. But my thing is North Carolina is usually everybody's favorite. but North Carolina's team, I just don't think that they're capable of winning the championship this year. I think that they'll be an Elite Eight to Final Four team, but I don't think that they'll be a championship caliber team.
I don't know, man. I think Mississippi State or Michigan State can beat that North Carolina team. I don't think that North Carolina team's as good as everyone says it they are.
Yeah, and my bracket agrees with that. I have Michigan State beating NC in the second round. But Dylan, great takes from you because I actually have Iowa State winning it all in my bracket. Um,
Not bad.
I have Iowa State and Houston in the championship game, and then I have Iowa State winning that game. So, I mean, this is just my gut bracket. There's always one bracket my first one that's like staring at the teams, not doing research, looking at the teams like, okay, how do I feel like this team did this year, and then slowly go down the line from there. So, I don't know.
Your gut take, huh?
It's going to be interesting. Last time I bet on an Iowa State team, I believe they lost first or second round a couple of years ago. And then I also had Iowa in the Final Four, and I believe they lost in the first round that year too. So, I mean, that's the thing about March Madness is it's obviously madness. You don't know what's going to happen. It's one win, one game. All you need is one bad shooting night and you're done.
Well, you're here to hear it first, guys. Chase Young just signed with the Saints.
I guess cool.
Yeah. Oh, I just wanted to put that out there.
It's
fun.
Saints go for another Ohio State player.
That's true, yeah.
It's going to be fun. I do want to bring up the fact that we're going to do a bracket. So we're going to post this, all over the social media. David, you're better at that than I am. If you want to just post your regular video, we're going to do a little bracket challenge. Winner's going to get $50. I think that's fair. Winner gets $50. That's it. I mean, I think it's just going to be fun. Anybody can join. So that's the best part about it. I want to see some people. I'm curious to see some people's picks on this.
Yeah, and so I actually, Christian had a technical difficulty in the middle, so I ran that ad a bit. I did the whole spiel. Do we know what app we want to do it on? Do we want to do it on Yahoo? Do we want to do it on ESPN? Do we do it on CBS? Is there a certain one that you prefer to use?
ESPN's the most
better one. You can make groups and stuff.
Yeah, so I'm just going to create a ESPN one, guys. I'm going to shoot you over the link, David, for that, so that way we can get that out there today, so people can start doing their stuff. Obviously, tomorrow starts first four, so we want to make sure we get that out there.
So we'll get it out. We'll get the $50 on there, and I'll be interested to see how many people join. I think we should all four make brackets, not get the money for it, and just compare. Make sure. Also, if you make your bracket, make sure you just name it your name, so that way we know.
Yeah, right. Yeah. We don't want to have to hunt you down. But for sure. Yeah, absolutely. We don't want anything happening like we did for fantasy football, David.
I also said something about that. I said that I will not be. I mean, I didn't collect the money for the last one either. Don't worry, guys. I made sure that I didn't want to collect the money for other people.
Yeah. We'll make sure. We just have to make sure we reach out to these people. Hopefully it's easier said than done trying to track these people down. They have an email address on there. We can reach out. We'll track you down, winner. We'll track you down.
So is there any other teams that you wanted to? There's a lot of teams that didn't make it. They just missed it. Are there any teams out there that you wish would have made it, other than obviously Ohio State?
I feel like Ohio State should have made it. The way they look like at the end of the season, I think they at least deserved to have a shot at it. It was a completely different team than what they have now, and I feel like they deserve to have, even if it's a 16 seed. But you're not going to give a team that's in a big conference like that a 16 seed, right? Those are for your
that'd be fun to see. That'd be fun to see.
Yeah.
You'd actually get good competition in that first round if you were to throw in Ohio State as a 16 seed.
Yeah, I mean, I really think they got the short end there. I think they deserve to get a bid for, the way they looked at the end of the season. Not missing the tournaments, but I still can't get over this Boise State, Colorado thing. It's still kind of pissing me off. I don't like it at all.
Yeah, I think another team that I feel like kind of got screwed over is IU. I feel like IU had a really good end of the season. They won some good games. They ended up finishing 6th in the Big Ten, and they still were left out, and teams like Michigan State, go in. who they beat and had a better record in the Big Ten and beat in the last game of the Big Ten regular season in order to be the 6th seed. And if you're going to base it off of what they did in the in the regular season, why on earth would you not give
Yeah.
IU the nod, give them a chance? So it's unfortunate. You hate to see it because obviously, granted, those kids are younger than me now. Those guys are younger. All the guys, even the seniors, are going to be younger than me, unless they're like those like 4-year super seniors. But it's like it's hard
How's
to
that
sit
make you
there and
feel?
like those seniors who tried so hard, the Ohio State seniors, the IU seniors who had a great ending of the season, just for it to kind of get kicked away from them, being told like it didn't really matter. It kind of sucks for them. But you can't really do much about it.
Yeah. Well, I
Yeah.
know with Ohio State, Jack Diebler is officially the new head coach for Ohio State. And the way that he coached that team makes you excited to see what he'll do with that team next year. With what he did in the end of the regular season, you saw they beat good teams like Purdue, almost beat Illinois. I know, like they say, don't let the refs affect the game, but that game had the largest margin of foul calls in 20 years. So the fact that they only lost by 3 points makes you wonder, like, hey, come on, like,
I
could
believe,
that have affected it?
yeah, I believe the stat was in the final like 6 minutes of the game, the calls favored Illinois 9-0.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Things are gonna happen, Whistle blows. It sucks. It goes both ways. You guys wouldn't be saying anything if it were the other way.
I'm just saying the better team won, and when I say that, I mean BETTOR. So
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't know. I wish I could see the Terps in here, but they're so bad. I just, they used to be a basketball school. Looks like they're starting to become more of a football school. We'll see. Hopefully. Can I have one? I mean, we have lacrosse, right?
yeah, they have like
Like,
the lacrosse and soccer and field hockey.
like I want something like football or basketball. I want basketball back, really. Basketball was a lot of fun
Well,
watching
they,
them
they
them
won
be
a
good, but
didn't they win a tournament in like 2001? Like they like won
very
like
early, yeah, very early, very long time ago. Yeah, it is what it is, man. I don't think there's any teams that besides Ohio State that I can think of that I think deserve to get in here. Those are the only ones, really. That's it. That's it for me.
Yeah, anything else you guys
Yeah.
want to talk about? I mean, I guess I'll mention a little bit of baseball, just a little tad bit. Actually, I have two
Go,
things. One,
go Buckner.
Trevor Bauer actually is going to be pitching against the New York Yankees as a part of some random overseas team, but he's actually going to
Yeah,
pitch him against
he's
spring
been
training.
doing that. He did that with the
I
Dodgers
saw I
too.
saw the video where he did with the Dodgers.
He pitched pretty well too.
I mean,
I mean, he's been staying in shape and stuff. Phillies, come on, dude. We need another pitcher. Please do something. Do something. I don't care at this point. Just do
yeah.
something.
At this point, I'm just tired of talking about somebody signed Trevor Bauer. It's like
Yeah.
every single week we're like, hey, somebody
Yeah.
signed Trevor Bauer, please.
Yeah. Well, guys, I gotta get off here shortly. My hot take is you gotta let the peacock fly. You gotta let the
Oh,
peacock fly. And peacock, you're going to the second round. You're going to the second round. You can only volunteer so much. Those peacocks, they're flying. They are flying.
you heard it here, folks. Another Peacock run to the national championship. All right. Well, I'll see you, man.
I'm out. I'm sending links over. Be prepared to receive them.
Links, like
Deuces.
sausage links.
I think my hot take that I would put out there would be I think that we're gonna see at least 3 number 1 or number 2 seeds out in the first round. That's
So
gonna be
like,
my
like
hot
like a
take.
combination, like
Yeah.
3 2 seeds and a 1 seed. Or sorry, 2 and 1. That's interesting. So if you were to look at that right now, who are the one teams you're going to be worried about? Those 1s and 2 seeds who you think are going to lose those first couple rounds.
So looking at it in those first couple of rounds, I think the ones that catch my eye is obviously Tennessee is one that catches my eye because obviously that St. Peter's team has proven that they can go far. They can go into a deep round. Um, another one, another one that catches my eye would probably be that North Carolina team. Whoever goes in, I could honestly see possibly beating North Carolina just on an upset. Um, looking at other number ones and two teams, uh, I know Purdue is a team that already got upset last year, so they could possibly be upset again this year. I don't know what it is with Purdue, but like you said, they tend to disappoint when it comes to the end of the year. But yeah, I feel like those are like three. Those are three of the teams that I could.
Yeah, and to throw one in, you know what? I have them. I could see Marquette losing to Western Kentucky. I can
Yeah,
see the
yeah,
creepiest mascot in all of the NCAA, Big Red,
the Hilltopper.
the Hilltopper. Yeah, go out and knock down the number two seed as a 15. Um, but yeah, I mean that is a pretty hot take. But I not out of the question. We've seen basketball being playing at a different level the past couple of years, and it could honestly happen. See
Hmm.
the next, I guess the next one would my hot take. I guess I have to do my hot take. Oh man, I don't even know what I want to do with hot takes much. I want to look. What's the women's bracket look like?
I think the women's bracket. I honestly think that Ohio State's women's team is going to make it to the championship this year.
I mean, if I'm gonna go, not really a hot take, but I think I'll go with this. Hot take is that the NCAA women's team, it's gonna be 4-1 seeds, and South Carolina is gonna win the championship.
That's not a hot take, but I do think we're not going to see either LSU or Iowa in the championship game.
Was that the championship game last year? Was it Iowa
Yeah.
versus LSU? Yeah, I
Mhm.
think LSU could be like a second round exit this year.
The way that
But
they've been playing, yeah.
do you have any certified ballers of this week?
Certified ballers. Hmm. Not that comes to mind. Uh, like I said, um, if I had to pick one out, uh, I would say Jack Diebler. Once again, I know I've said him a lot, but finally he's getting that head coaching job with Ohio State. Brother was a former Buckeye. Um, I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do with that team. He did really well. Probably, I'm not gonna say probably, definitely deserved at least a chance to play in the tournament. But hey, we'll see what he does next year. What about you?
Yeah, certified baller for this week. I'm gonna go with the NC State Wolfpack. When you have a team that was came in as a 10 seed, the 10 seed in the AC tournament had not moved on to the next round in the tournament since 2010, I believe. And then they go in, they beat Duke, they go in, they beat University of North Carolina, and they beat a Virginia team. On a buzzer beater where they banked it in for three and go into overtime, and they go in and win overtime. And so when you have a team that is hot, they got hot at the right time and without
Mhm.
that, they would not be in the tournaments, but they get the auto bid, and now you have NC State in the tournament. And is there anybody you have as your deflated baller?
Yeah, Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones and the whole Cowboys organization for their abysmal free agency and their abysmal offseason so far.
It's crazy because he said he was all in this offseason. And like I said, I believe the only two moves they have made the entire offseason are re-signing their long snapper and then getting a like 11 years in the league, Eric Hendricks. And that's like the only two moves they've made.
But it's not even just that. You look at the end of the season where everybody thought Mike McCarthy was on his way out. I mean, Bill Belichick being available to be a head coach, and you go with the guy that has been disappointing so far. To me, I don't understand.
Yeah, and if I'm I guess my deflated baller this week is going to be the guy from Kent State. I don't know if you saw what happened there. Kent State hit a shot to go up one with out 8 seconds left, and they
Yeah,
inbounded the ball, and the dude did a
foul.
take foul for whatever reason and sent him to a 1-on-1 at the free throw line to shoot 2 free throws, and they ended up losing in the MAC championship game to the Akron Zips, I believe, and then lost the
Yeah,
automatic bid because of it. I mean, you got to feel bad because, like, those like the MAC teams, they aren't going to get many teams, in there unless they get an outright bid. So it's unfortunate. You got to understand that the hard work they put in to get that position just to lose. An honorable mention of my hot take is going to be the coach for, is it Long Beach, I believe. There's a coach who was told that he's not going to be returning next year, and then he ended up winning the conference championship, and now
yeah.
he's going to be in the tourney. So good on those two guys. But yeah, I don't have anything else to talk about.
Yo, yo, yo.
All right, and I guess you guys enjoy your week. Monday, March Madness. Wow, March Madness starts this week. We'll be starting the tournaments up. We'll send the links out. And we'll see you in the next one.
Hosted by David, Nick, and Christian. That's a
Dylan, you look like you need a nap.
knowledge and hot takes at the sports IQ.
I was gonna
The game from hoops to gridiron,
okay.
analyzing
I'm gonna
every
cook some
play
dinner.
like we was the champion. With
I'll see you, man.
I got-
humor, we keep the
I'm
fun.
cooking pasta
HD
or
fam, we
whatever.
always bring the number one.
Probably gonna
Highlight
cook
taking
some
pockets,
chicken.
taking over the scene. We
All
drop
right.
dubs and
Yep, see you, man.
chugs, living the
Appreciate it.
sports dream. From hot takes to deep dive, it's a winning regime. Come join the hype. We not just blowing steam. We're known for our hot takes, blazing like fire, bringing heat to the table. Never preaching to the choir, debating on players, teams, and even strategies. We keep it real, the sugar-coated fallacies. David's on the mic, spinning knowledge of flair. He breaks down the stats with a voice smooth like air. Christian's a funny guy, bringing laughter and joy. He got the jokes unlocked and no one can destroy. Leads the analysts, break down the X's and O's. He sees the game differently, like nobody knows. Together unite, forming a podcast dream team, making waves in the industry, fulfilling their schemes. Highlight taking pockets, we taking over the scene. We drop dubs and chugs, living the sports dream. From hot takes to deep dive, it's a winning regime. Come join the hype, we not just blowing steam.